So you just got your first pack of matcha. Now what? In this video, we're going to show you how to make matcha, the best bowl for matcha, the best whisk for matcha, and the proper whisking technique. By the end of this video, you'll be able to whisk up beautiful, foamy bowls of matcha tea at home. But first, let's open up this tin. There are a few different types of matcha tins you might discover, and the first is a pop top. To open this tin, just pull the tab to break the seal, and then gently pull away the lid until it's removed from the tin. There are other types of matcha packs, like this one from Uji, which comes with a double sealed tin with a bag inside. When you're ready to drink this matcha, you can just cut open this bag and then reseal it when you're done. There are also some matcha teas that are tightly sealed inside a pack, and these are the simplest to open and reseal. The reason matcha is sealed so carefully is because it's extremely sensitive to light, heat, and humidity. If your matcha isn't sealed properly, it will start to lose its color, flavor, and health benefits over time. The matcha we'll be using today is the Osada Okumidori matcha from the Osada family in Shizuoka. After meeting with these tea farmers, we got to tour their fields up in the mountains and learn about their commitment to pesticide-free green tea. We ended up falling in love with this matcha because it's made from the smoother and less bitter Okumidori variety of tea plant, and it actually has an interesting taste profile that reminds me of kinako, or roasted soybean flour. If you want to try it, you can find it on our website, neoteas.com. But before we continue, I think we should pick out a matcha bowl. The matcha bowl, or chawan, is the handmade tea bowl that's perfectly designed for preparing matcha. You can use a normal cereal or soup bowl for making matcha, but there are a couple of disadvantages. First, the bowl has a narrow base, so it makes it harder to whisk. Also, these bowls tend to have more sloped sides, so when you're whisking, it's more likely that you'll splash the matcha out. What you'd rather go for is a specialized matcha bowl, which has a more cylindrical design. It has a wider base, which makes whisking easier, and it has steeper sides to prevent the matcha from splashing out. They also have these nice design patterns on them, which serves a purpose in the Japanese tea ceremony. We currently have 9 different styles of matcha bowl available on our website, and you can find a pattern that matches your own unique style. It's considered polite to turn this design to your guests during the tea ceremony as a sign of respect, so they can enjoy the most beautiful side of the bowl while you drink. The clay tea bowls are all handmade out of high-quality Japanese clay, and you can tell that each piece is slightly different and perfectly imperfect. If you preheat them with some hot water beforehand, you can keep your matcha warm throughout your tea session. Now that we have our bowl picked out, let's talk about the best whisk for matcha. While you can make matcha with a metal whisk, it's much more difficult. First of all, the metal bristles slice through the water and they don't create the same amount of friction as the bamboo whisk. Also, there aren't nearly as many bristles on most metal whisks. The chasen, or matcha whisk, on the other hand, is carved out of a single piece of bamboo, but it has 80 to 100 thin bristles that can easily produce a foam on your matcha in just a few seconds of whisking. The metal whisk also produces a very unpleasant noise that may disrupt your tea ceremony. Contrast that to the bamboo whisk, which is almost completely silent. All you'll hear is the bamboo whisk gently brushing against the sides of the bowl as the matcha is being foamed. Later on in this video, we're going to show you the best whisking technique to create that beautiful foam on the matcha. But first, we need to figure out how much matcha to use. So if you check on the back of the package, you'll see that we recommend 2 grams or 1 teaspoon of matcha powder. Matcha is unlike any other tea because the tea leaves are ground into a powder and mixed directly into water rather than being infused. This means that you get more flavor and health benefits with each gram of matcha powder, so you only need a small amount. Just take about a teaspoon of powder from the container and you're good to go. Rather than putting it into your bowl directly, you may want to use a sifter or furui to sift the matcha into the bowl. The reason for this is that the fine matcha powder will form clumps as it's exposed to the humidity in the air. This doesn't mean that the matcha has gone bad, but we will want to remove these clumps so the matcha can mix evenly into the water. The easiest way to do this is just to add the teaspoon of matcha onto the strainer directly and then push it through with your spoon. You can use a chashaku or bamboo matcha spoon for this, but it's not as important as getting the whisk and the bowl right. Once you have a finely sifted layer of matcha powder at the bottom of the bowl, it's time to move on to the next step, adding in the water. We recommend to go for a temperature between 140 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 to 80 degrees Celsius. If you use water that's too cold, it will be harder to whisk your matcha. If you use water that's too hot, it will make the flavor more bitter and astringent. Once you have the right water temperature, there's an extra bonus step you can use to remove the clumps. Just add in a tiny splash of water, about 1 to 2 tablespoons, and mix the matcha powder into a paste. This makes it easy to smooth out all the remaining clumps before you add the rest of the water in. This is also a good tip if you're trying to cut back the amount of water that you use in your matcha latte. Just make a concentrated matcha paste and add in the milk directly. After you have the paste, it's time to add in the rest of the water. In total, you should add between 80 to 100 milliliters of water, or about 1/3 of a cup. If you use too much water, it will be difficult to produce a foam on the matcha and it will have a more watered down flavor. Just like with other types of Japanese teas, it's better to have a smaller quantity of very flavorful tea than a large amount of watered down tea. Once all the water has been added, now comes the fun part, the whisking. Start by gently scraping off the sides of the matcha bowl to ensure that all the powder has been combined into the water. Next, start to whisk the matcha in a zigzag or M shape. You can practice this formation slowly at first and then speed it up once you have the technique down. What you're doing here is agitating the matcha powder and the water, which serves two purposes. First, it suspends the matcha particles into the water so they're combined evenly, and it also injects air into the matcha to produce a layer of foam on the top. We'll talk about why that's important later. If you stir the matcha in a circular motion, the movement will not be quick enough. You really need the zigzag motion to agitate the matcha tea. Try to only use your wrist and not your entire arm. These rapid wrist movements may feel unfamiliar at first, but you'll get the hang of them over time. It should only take a few seconds of whisking before a foam starts to appear on the surface of your matcha. You'll know the matcha is done when these larger bubbles turn into a thick layer of smaller bubbles. This foam is not just for looks. It also creates a lighter, airier consistency on the matcha and a smoother flavor, almost like steamed milk on a latte. If you use a lower quality matcha, it will be difficult to produce this foam, and it's just one of the many reasons why you should stick to premium, ceremonial grade matcha. If you want to try the best matcha teas we found during our travels around Japan, you can find them all on our website, neoteas.com. You can also pick up a whisk and a bowl to start your matcha journey today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you found this guide helpful. If you have any other matcha questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. But until then, we'll see you next time.